Hello all, welcome to my channel. In today's video lecture, we will be learning about the organization of thallus in algae. Now, algae is a collective term for chlorophyll bearing organisms which have a thalloid body. When we say the body is a thallus, it means it is not differentiated into true tissues like roots or stems or leaves, etc. This property of algae is the reason why we call that algal body as a thallus. Now, the thallus organization shows great diversity. There is an enormous range in the structure of the thallus, whether the cells are motile or not, how the thallus is reproducing, what is the life cycle of the thallus, all that is varying. In fact, algae is a diverse group. When we say the term algae, it is a diverse group. It is a polyphyletic group, which means it does not have all the organisms there don't have one common ancestor or evolutionary line, but they are all put together or they are all just given a terminology called as algae because they show a similar set of characteristics. That is why the algal diversity is enormous. We have prokaryotic algae, we have eukaryotic algae, we have algae which are unicellular, whereas some of the algae are measuring up to few feet in length. Some of the algae are motile in nature, some others are totally non-motile. Some of the algae are grouped together, whereas some other algae live individually. So there's a lot of diversity in the thallus structure of the algae, and that is what we will be looking into today. So our video will be restricted mainly to the eukaryotic algae and their thallus organization. Now, the simplest type of thallus seen in eukaryotic algae is the unicellular thallus. Unicellular thallus, as the name says, is made up of a single cell. Now, this single cell can either be motile or non-motile. An example of a motile unicellular thallus is Chlamydomonas, which shows motility with the help of flagella. So, if the thallus is motile, it means it is able to move around and the cells will be either spherical or oval or pear shaped in nature, and they will have flagella, either one or many, which is helping them in motility or which is helping them in locomotion. That is why this kind of a thallus is called as a motile unicellular thallus. We also have non-motile unicellular thalli, which are basically small spherical cells which lack flagella. They are unable to move around. And a very classical example for this is chlorella, which is an example of a non-motile unicellular thallus. So unicellular thallus forms the simplest type of eukaryotic thallus, and this is just made up of a single cell. The entire organism is made of a single cell. The next type of thallus is a colonial thallus. Now here there are multiple number of single cells which are assembled together. So it is a loose assemblage of cells which are held together, which are just put together in a gelatinous matrix or envelope. So that gelatinous matrix or envelope contains several number of cells, and now that entire structure is called as a colony. The colony again can be made up of either motile or non-motile cells. So accordingly, we have motile colonial thallus or non-motile colonial thallus. If the cells in the colony are having motility, if they show motility, then we call it as a motile colonial thallus, which is basically a group of cells or a definite number of cells which are all showing motility. Now they are all held together in a mucilaginous sheath. So the individual cells are independent of each other. They are carrying out their own functions. They have little or no dependence on one another in the colony, but they act together and bring about the movement of the entire colony. So even though the individual cells are different, they function together as one colony. That is why this type of a thallus is called as a colonial thallus. And because the cells in this kind of a thalli have motility or they show motility, we call this as a motile colonial thallus. Some of the examples of this are shown over here, like gonium, Pandorina, Eudorina, volvox. These are some examples of organisms which are in the colony form and they show motility. We also have non-motile colonial thallus, which means the organisms are present together in the form of a colony. They are held together by a gelatinous matrix, but the cells are non-motile. So hence the colony also becomes non-motile, and this type of a thallus is called as a non-motile colonial thallus. Examples for this include pediastrum or hydrodictyon, which can be made up of a definite or an indefinite number of cells. Our third type of thallus is the palmelloid and the dendroid type of thallus. Now, in some algae, during the asexual reproduction, there is a particular stage called as the palmella stage. This is a temporary stage in the life cycle of that particular algae, wherein the protoplast of the cell keeps dividing. The protoplast of the parent cell keeps dividing and forms number of daughter cells. But these daughter cells are unable to develop flagella because the conditions are unfavorable. So they are present within the same parent cell. So the protoplast has kept on dividing to form a number of daughter cells, but the daughter cells are living within the same parent cell because they are unable to develop flagella due to the unfavorable conditions. And because they do not escape from that particular parent cell, they stay like that. So this stage is called as the palmella stage, wherein a particular cell or an organism contains numerous cells which are embedded in the common mucilaginous matrix or common mucilaginous mass. This type of a stage is called as the palmella stage. And when numerous such daughter protoplasts are embedded inside the parent cell wall, we call that as the palmella stage. So each daughter cell can in turn divide, and ultimately we have an entire colony containing numerous cells embedded in one common mucilaginous matrix. That is called as the palmella stage. Of course, when the conditions become favorable, the individual daughter cells will develop flagella, they will show motility, and they will escape outside. So this is only a temporary stage in the life cycle of an organism, but because of its unique nature, we have classified it as one type of thallus, that is the palmelloid thallus. Examples for this include the organism Tetraspora or Prasinocladus as shown over here, or even some species of Chlamydomonas like Chlamydomonas cleani and Chlamydomonas pulvinata. These organisms show the palmella stage as a temporary stage in their life cycle. We also have some thalli which are dendroid in nature, which means they appear like small microscopic tree, and they do have mucilage which is present locally. Generally at the base of the cells there will be mucilage that is present. Examples for this include Chrysodendron, Ebalocystis, Ecalocystis, Ophiocytium. All of these are examples of dendroid thalli. So palmelloid is a type of thallus which is present as a temporary stage. That is why it has been clubbed with this thallus, that is dendroid thallus. So we have palmelloid and dendroid thalli. The next type of thallus is the siphonaceous or the cenocytic thallus. Now there are some unicells, there are some single cells or unicellular thalli which get enlarged, and when they get enlarged they form a long structure, an elongated structure which is aseptate. That means it lacks septa, which is either uninucleate or multinucleate. It can have either one nucleus or multiple number of nuclei, and it is either sac-like or it is a tubular structure. This kind of aseptate thallus is called as a siphonaceous or cenocytic thallus. However big this thallus looks like, ultimately it is just one cell which has become elongated or enlarged. So there are no cross walls in the somatic phase. Cross walls, even if they appear, they will appear only when the cell wants to separate off some dead portions, or if it wants to demarcate some reproductive structure. Only at that time it will show the septa, it will show the cross wall. At all other times the cell is just one single cell which has been elongated, and this is known as the cenocytic or the siphonaceous thallus. In some cases the thallus in fact is so elaborate that it mimics the shoots of aerial plants, or it looks like ferns. That is, it will be differentiated into creeping structures and hold fasts. As you can see over here, there will be something that is hold fast to the substratum. It is attaching to the substratum, but then all of it is just one single cell. Examples for this include Acetabularia, which is over here, or the Caraceum, Caulerpa, Protosiphon. These are some very good examples of cenocytic algae or siphonaceous algae. The next type of thallus is the multicellular filamentous thallus. Now here this is seen mainly in the brown and red algae, but even some green algae do show the multicellular filamentous thallus. This is wherein the cells multiply and they are arranged in linear rows called as filaments or even threads. So the cells are multiplying and the thallus is multicellular. It is made up of number of cells. That is why it is called as a multicellular filamentous thallus. That is, every row of cells is called as a filament. Under this again we have different types of filaments based on how many planes they are dividing in, how many planes the cell division is occurring in. Based on that, we have 5 different types of filamentous thalli. The first type of thallus is the simple filament. Simple filament, like the name says, is just one long thread-like unbranched filament that is called as a simple filament. So here these cells are dividing in only one plane and there is no branching out over here. That kind of unbranched filament is called as a simple filament. As we can see here, it is seen in Spirogyra, Eulothrix, Edogonium. All of these are examples of simple filaments where the cells divide in one plane only. The next type of multicellular filamentous thallus is the branched filament, wherein an occasional cell in the thallus divides in a different plane. All the cells do not divide in a different plane. Usually the cells are dividing in a single plane, but one or two cells here and there. Occasionally in the thallus, the cells start dividing in a different plane. Because the cells start dividing in a different plane, it leads to the formation of outgrowths or branches. And when they arise from the main filament, that is called as a branched filament. So this is seen in case of bulbocete or cladophora, wherein from the main filament we have branches here and there wherever the cell starts dividing in a different plane. The third type of thallus is the parenchymatous thallus. Parenchymatous thallus and foliaceous thallus, these are the next two types of thalli. These are very similar. The foliaceous thallus is wherein the cell division takes place in two planes. Please note here, this is the parenchymatous thallus, whereas this is the foliaceous thallus. The names have been interchanged. So the foliaceous thallus is wherein the cell division occurs in two planes, both transverse as well as longitudinal. And when the cell divides, when every cell in the body divides in these two planes, it leads to the formation of a thin paper-like or a flat plate-like thallus that is called as the foliaceous thallus. Something that is resembling the leaves, that is called as a foliaceous thallus. So every cell in the entire thallus divides into two planes, both the transverse as well as the longitudinal, to form a flat structure or a flat plate-like thallus, which is known as the foliaceous thallus, which is seen in the case of ulva. This is seen in the case of ulva. Massive parenchymatous thallus is this one. This is wherein the cell divisions are occurring in two planes, yes, transverse as well as longitudinal. Along with that, the cells also start dividing in a plane parallel to the surface of a foliaceous thallus. So it is 2 to 3 layers thicker than a foliaceous thallus. That type of a thallus is called as a parenchymatous thallus, wherein it leads to the formation of a massive, bulky structure which is 2 to 3 layers thick. That kind of a structure is called as a parenchymatous thallus. Example for this is porphyra. So porphyra is very similar to ulva. It's just that in porphyra there are multiple layers of what is seen in case of ulva. Example for foliaceous thallus is this one, that is ulva. Example for parenchymatous thallus is this one, that is porphyra. The next type of the filament or thallus is the heterotrichous filament, or a filament or an alga that shows heterotrichy. Now this is the most advanced and evolved type of thallus. This is seen mainly in brown algae and red algae, but also in a few green algae. Here the thallus is very clearly differentiated into a prostrate creeping system, that is the filament, that is the basal portion which is present on the substratum. It is the creeping filament on the substratum, and an erect projecting system which is an upright filament coming out from the substratum. Now these are some of the examples of organisms that show heterotrichy, like Stygioclonium, Fritchiella, Dictyota, Laminaria, Fucus. Almost all the brown algae show this kind of heterotrichy. Many of the red algae and green algae also show heterotrichous filament. In some members, the heterotrichy may be so advanced that they will look like very huge plants, but they are actually algae or they have a thallus structure. The heterotrichous filament can be either uniaxial as seen in Batrachospermum, or it can be multiaxial as seen in Polysiphonia. A uniaxial filament, a uniaxial heterotrichous filament is wherein there is one axis which is surrounded by lateral branches. Whereas in a multiaxial filament, there are a number of filaments, number of threads are coming out, and each thread is having lateral branches. So that kind of a filament is called as a multi-axial filamentous thallus. This is a uniaxial filamentous thallus which is seen in case of Batrachospermum. So these are some of the thalli that are seen in algae. As you can see, they can be as simple as a single cell, which is called as a unicellular thallus, or they can be clubbed together to form gelatinous colonies, which are called as colonial thalli, or they can be a single cell which is extended to form a siphonaceous or a cenocytic thallus, or the thallus itself is made up of number of cells to form a multicellular thallus. And again, under the multicellular filamentous thallus, we have several subtypes based on the diversity of the filament. I hope this class has been useful for you. Thank you.